Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kenna and I post all kinds of Littlest Pet Shop content related to collecting, series work, scripting, so much fun stuff, and I also like to yap and complain, so if you're into community commentary, stick around. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video marks the very first episode of a brand new mega master series that I have had cooking up in my brain for multiple years. I've wanted to do this. What I'm going to be doing throughout this series is holding your hand and taking you step by step and teaching you every single thing you need to know, leaving no stone unturned about how you can create your very own Littlest Pet Shop series. Today's episode is all about inspiration. Now, before we dive into our little brainstorming session, I did want to let you guys know that this series is going to be different from anything else I've done on my channel. It's going to be interactive, so if you have any questions following today's episode, please post them in the comments. I'm going to address every single question I get in the upcoming episode. Ooh, I'm losing my voice, but the show must go on. And of course, there's a very fair chance that you already have some inspiration, some ideas in your head for your series, and you want to move right on to the next step. If that's you, you can skip this episode if you want. It's not going to be relevant to you. This episode, like I said, is kind of like episode 0. It's for people who know they want to make a series, but they don't even know where to start. So if that sounds like you, stick around. I'm going to be sharing my tips for getting inspired. Now, the very first thing I'm going to want you to do is to jot down any and all of your ideas. No matter how stupid or trivial they may seem, I need you to jot down any idea you have in your head. Even if it's not even a full idea and it's just a theme or a quote from something, jot it down, because what that does is it creates a map in your brain and it can take you to other places. So if you jot down those ideas that may be silly to you, those ideas might someday lead you to a better one. Have a notebook with you, have a pen and paper, have your notes app on your iPhone, have something with you at all times, because inspiration can strike in the weirdest moments. I know this is common for a lot of people, but I usually get inspired in the shower. I don't know what it is about my herbal essences, soap for my hair, but something about that honey treasures, I don't know, dude, gets me thinking. Another place I find a ton of inspiration in is actually reality. Things that have happened to me, things that have happened to other people I know, true stories, autobiographies, things that come from real life inspire me a lot, especially if I'm thinking about a potentially tragic storyline. Unfortunately, there are a lot of terrible things that happen in the world, and I like to tell darker stories. Everybody's different. You might be planning out a comedy special, and that's completely fine. You can use this series for that too. But I know when I am trying to come up with darker themes, I spend a ton of time thinking about real things. So don't discredit reality. It might really help you in this instance. Now, this is an obvious one, but you can get inspired from other media. TV shows, books, manga, movies. I'm probably missing stuff. There's one thing I'm leaving out intentionally because it gets its own bullet point. But any form of other media can be very inspiring. So keep sitting on the couch with your popcorn, watching your movies. An idea might strike your brain. And at this point, you might be getting a little concerned and thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to get inspired from other movies or things that have really happened. I want to come up with something original. I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. Nothing is completely original. Everything is some fragment of something else, so I don't want you to get hung up on that. So long as you're not directly plagiarizing, you're fine. And in the inspiration phase, we're too early in to even know if plagiarism is a concern, because the thing is, your inspiration is just one nugget of the story. What's inspiring your story is probably 5% of the story, so you have 95% to work with to really make your own. So I really don't want you to get hung up on the inspiration and feel like your inspiration is cliche or something that's just been done too much because you have plenty of opportunity to make it your own. Don't get stuck there. This might sound a little weird to some of you, but locations. Locations can be very inspiring. And I'm not just talking about beautiful vacation destinations, I mean regular places you go in your day-to-day. What about the coffee shop on the street corner? You go there all the time. Do you ever wonder what the barista's life story is? Things like that you wouldn't even think of as inspiring could get your memory jogging. So always really take it in when you visit wherever you're going to visit in your day-to-day, because it might jog your brain a little. I know I have a friend who really likes exploring like abandoned buildings, not necessarily buildings, but like train tracks and stuff like that. And I feel like if I were doing some of that, like I would be so inspired. I don't know what I would be inspired to write about, but I feel like if I visited kind of creepy places at night like that, I would get, I'm not encouraging you to do that. Definitely don't do that. But I know someone who does that, and that person came to mind when I was thinking about locations in terms of inspiration. And speaking of people, this is a fantastic segue into my next point, because I want you to also think of people when you're trying to get your inspiration. It can be people you know, it can also be fictional people. I know for a lot of people, they can be inspired by the stories of their grandparents or their parents. Some of us don't have great relationships with those people. Some of those people could maybe be me. Anyways, so you can also get inspiration from your friends, or hang on to this, yourself. Now, before you clutch your pearls, I'm not necessarily suggesting that your story should be an author insert. That's actually so bad. Don't do that. But if something crazy or transformative has happened in your life, I don't think it's a bad idea to take that and make it your little nugget of inspiration and use it to create a story. I actually think that's a great idea, and I would encourage you to look inward and see what stories you've already lived, because I think that taking inspiration from yourself can actually lead to a great outcome, especially because you have more insight and more control over the plot, in the sense that you've lived through a nugget of it. And I think that it can be helpful for people who don't know how to create a plot out of thin air. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea at all. Just don't make the whole plot your life. You get what I'm saying? Like, a tiny event or a conflict could be something inspiring, but don't then take every single thing that happened to you and make it your story. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, on the same page? Okay, moving on. Here's another weird one, but I think dreams are actually a really great source of inspiration. It could just come from my psychology-loving, psychology-studying brain, but I think that dreams communicate a lot of what's coming from the subconscious, and I think that your subconscious is really smart and full of creative juices. And I think that if you're the kind of person who remembers your dreams, you might wake up one morning and realize you just had a crazy dream, and this is your series. I had something like this happen to me once, but I didn't end up making a series about it. But I had this terrifying nightmare, and the only reason I didn't make it into a full thing is because the set building would have been crazy style, and I did not have the time or the resources. But I'm keeping the idea in my back pocket, actually, so do not discredit what your dreams can communicate to you, because they have some pretty good ideas in store if you're willing to be open-minded and listen to your brain. Also, have we considered music? This is the part of other media that I left out. I think that music can be very inspiring. Now, music doesn't really do it for me like how it does for other people, because I'll be honest, I listen to Yeet and a lot of male manipulator music. It's not necessarily inspiring, but I can see how if you listen to like Phoebe Bridgers, or I don't know. I only know Yeet, I'm not gonna lie, but I know that for a lot of people, their connection to music is very important, and if you're one of those people, this is a great time to lean into that, especially because music tells stories, and it might help you with the story that you're trying to tell. This is a mini points, an idea that I came up with in the moment, so I'm not so sure how sound it is because it just entered my noggin, but I'm gonna include it in the video anyways. What about art? After all, this video is a lot lot of spitballing, and it's different from the other videos. The other videos are going to be, they're going to be super structured. This one's not. We're kind of just hanging out, having fun times. But yeah, what about art? I mean, some people are very into art. Some people like the abstract. I think that a lot of stories can be told in abstract art, and I think that that can be very inspiring because it can evoke emotions, and I think that a lot of your emotionality can spill into things like getting inspired. So just something small to think about. Now, my very last point, if you have gone through the whole shebang of ideas that I've suggested and nothing's doing it for you, maybe you could just start by picking a theme. I wouldn't say a theme is necessarily the most inspiring thing, but maybe you don't really know what your story is going to be and nothing's really coming to you right now, but there is a theme. Maybe you know your story is going to be about friendship. Maybe you know your story is going to be about trust. Maybe you know your story is going to be about honor, or I don't know. I can't think of good themes off the top of my dome like that. I'm not one of those people, but there are theme lists that you can find on Google that you can look through too. I mean, even stuff like grief. I think grief is a really great idea actually for a theme. And even just saying grief out loud, like it has so many different possibilities and ideas popping in my head, so maybe coming up with a theme really isn't such a bad idea, and this early on it might help you get inspired. So that's my very last tip. If anybody else has any ideas for what you do to get inspired, maybe self-care, things like taking a bath, what have you, please share in the comments. I want everybody to be helping everybody out here, okay? This is interactive, we're working together, it's a shared group project. Everybody's getting equal credit, okay? Now, before I drop ship you to the outro like an AliExpress package, I do want to make sure we're all on the same page, that your idea, your initial idea that you've got in your head right now, it doesn't have to be anywhere near perfect. It's going to evolve so much from right now to the very end of this series that we're going to go on together. So I really, really don't want you to get hung up on your idea. You might not love it yet, but if you like it and you want to move forward with it, just trust the process and move forward. I think where a lot of people get hung up when trying to come up with a series or even just a story, if you're a novelist in your free time, creating stories can be intimidating, and I think that when you get that initial idea, it can be so scary because all you have is this inkling of an idea. What do I do next? And it feels overwhelming and you think your idea is not good enough. I don't want you to do that to yourself because your idea is good enough. It's just a baby idea. It's a newborn. We have to grow it and nurture it, and we're gonna. So stick with whatever idea you have. Trust your gut. I know you have a good idea. I know you do. I can't hold you in my arms and tell you, but if I could, and it wouldn't be weird to do that, I would. I know your idea is good. Don't get scared. Don't be a chicken. You can do this. I believe in you. And I'm going to see you in the next episode. And we're going to work on fostering the growth of said idea. So with all that out of the way, love you. See you in the outro. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciated having you here. If you liked this episode, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon to turn on post notifications so that you can be sat when the next episode releases. Also, leave a comment, ask any questions you have. As I said, I'm going to address all of them in the upcoming episodes, and be sure to like the video if you enjoy this series. Your engagement really does help me, and it is something I look at to help determine what kind of content I want to make in the future. And with all of that being said, please remember that you are very loved by me and by everyone else in my little corner of the internet, so please take care of yourselves. I hope to talk to you again soon, and I look forward to hanging out again. Bye-bye.